I have a good wife, Anna. When my business failed and I was drowning in debt, she stood by me. She endured the hardships with me, offering comfort and encouragement, promising to walk this rough path together, no matter how difficult it got. I was deeply moved. So much so that I considered divorcing her, taking all the debt upon myself so she wouldn't have to suffer. But by sheer accident, I uncovered the truth: she had a secret stash of $10 million. And she wasn't saving it for our future. She was using it to chase after her ex. Sticking with him through hardship is my way of showing sincerity. Not giving him a single cent. That's my bottom line. My role is purely companionship. As for that $10 million? That's our family startup fund. I decided it was time to rip off her mask of hypocrisy. Today is our wedding anniversary. After finishing some company matters, I went to the market and planned to make dinner for Anna as a surprise. But as soon as I stepped inside, I was met with a scene I never could have imagined. There she was, lying in our bed with another man. 3 years of economic turmoil had nearly driven my company to bankruptcy. I'd been working around the clock, pulling endless all-nighters, nearly dropping dead at my desk. And yet, while I was fighting to keep us afloat, she was here, cheating on me. I stood frozen at the doorway, unable to move. The bathroom mirror was still fogged up, and the glass shower door had condensation streaking down its surface. They had just showered. The bedroom door wasn't even fully closed. Through the narrow gap, I could see everything. The man was having the time of his life, and Anna, her body twisting in ways I never knew she was capable of, was just as enthusiastic. "Babe, you're pretty bold, bringing me here. Aren't you afraid your husband will find out?" The man's breathless voice carried a smug edge. As he moved, I got a clear look at his face. I knew him. Henry. The guy Anna had a massive crush on back in college. Anna let out a soft chuckle. So what if he finds out? That loser has nothing left. Ever since his business collapsed, he's been living off me, eating my food, drinking my wine. You really think he has the guts to divorce me? In fact, I hope he does. If he's the one to initiate the divorce, the house, the cars, everything, will be mine. Henry let out a boisterous laugh. You really are something else. Anna smirked, flipping the script as she pushed Henry onto his back. Don't tell me you don't love coming to my house. I thought you liked the thrill. Her voice, sultry, teasing, made my stomach turn. Oh, I do, Henry murmured. But I'm still a man. I'm not like that pathetic husband of yours. I can't just let you have all the control. He chuckled, then effortlessly lifted Anna into his arms and carried her onto the balcony. Unbelievable. Rage burned through my veins. My first instinct was to grab a knife from the kitchen, storm in there, and kill them both. But killing them would be too easy. And this wasn't the kind of world where I could get away with that. No. They weren't worth throwing my life away for. But that didn't mean I was going to let them get away with it. Now, I was in my 30s. I had aging parents to support and had weathered the highs and lows of life. I was no longer the impulsive young man I had been in my 20s. Those days of reckless emotions were long behind me. I had no intention of letting them off easily. I wanted them utterly destroyed. And yet, not a single drop of blood would stain my hands. Henry, what's wrong? Nothing. Just got a sudden chill on my back, like there's a draft. I'll close the window. A second later, I heard the sound of the window shutting. Babe, for a second there, I thought your husband was back. Relax, Anna's voice was soft, teasing. I already checked, he's not coming home tonight. Just be gentle. I had no desire to listen any longer. I stopped the recording on my phone and left the house. Just before stepping out, my eyes landed on the entryway. Anna's phone was sitting on the shoe cabinet. I hesitated for a moment before slipping it into my pocket. Today was supposed to be a celebration. A surprise for Anna. Against all odds, my company had turned a corner, clawing its way back from the brink of bankruptcy. I had even gone out of my way to secretly send a few major contracts to her company, helping her business thrive. But now? This marriage was over. Everything I had given her, I would take back, with interest. The humiliation she had brought upon me, I would repay 1,000-fold. I returned to my office. Anna's phone was locked with a password. I tried my birthday. It unlocked without hesitation. I wasn't sure whether to laugh or feel insulted. Was she waiting for me to find out? Or did she think I was so stupid, so blindly trusting, that she never even considered I might check. We had been together for years, married for one. And yes, I had trusted her completely. I had never once gone through her phone. These past 3 months, as my company teetered on the edge of collapse, Anna had been more gentle and understanding than ever before. She had stopped her extravagant spending, no more designer bags, no more jewelry, no more high-end restaurants. She encouraged me, comforted me, swore she would stand by me no matter how difficult things got. She said she didn't care if we lost everything, if we ended up buried in debt. I had been so moved that I seriously considered divorcing her, taking all the debt upon myself so she wouldn't have to suffer. But when I brought it up, Anna had lashed out. She accused me of not treating her like family. She even ripped up the divorce papers right in front of me, swearing her loyalty. I had been overwhelmed with emotion. In that moment, I had made a promise: if we ever divorced for any reason other than infidelity, I would leave her with everything. And yet, as I scrolled through the messages Anna had sent to Henry from her anonymous account, I realized what a complete fool I had been. Sticking with him through hardship is my way of showing sincerity. Not giving him a single penny. That's my bottom line. My role is purely companionship. Henry, that $10 million, that's our future. Our startup fund for when we get married and build a home together. But don't feel pressured, okay? I'm not saying I don't like you, and I'm definitely not forcing you to break up with your girlfriend for me. I just want to express my sincerity. I love you, and I respect your choices completely. I don't want to take away your freedom. Got it? No misunderstandings here. Don't worry. Henry had a girlfriend. While I was struggling to keep my company afloat, while my employees went unpaid, while creditors hounded me to the brink of collapse, she had $10 million stashed away. And yet, she had let me suffer. She had watched me drown, all while playing the devoted wife, pretending to be my rock, my comfort. All so she could hand over that money to her lover. The pain in my chest was suffocating. I had spent years in the business world. I had seen my fair share of betrayals, deceit, and corruption. But experiencing it firsthand, from the woman I had loved, trusted, and sworn to protect, was something I never could have prepared for. And I had no idea the worst was still yet to come. I transferred all of Anna's chat logs onto my computer. Page by page, I combed through them. That's when I realized, she and Henry had been sleeping together since their college days. But back then, Henry had a stunning girlfriend. Anna was just one of the many girls he kept on the sidelines, someone he could summon at will and discard just as easily. Her early social media posts were filled with selfless devotion, pretending not to care. But over time, bitterness crept in, melancholic captions, hidden grief behind every word. After everything, you'll realize I was always the one meant for you. I'll be right here, waiting. The moment you turn back, you'll always be my greatest love. Attached to the post was a picture, Henry's side profile. Anna was my first love. She had once told me that back in college, she had been a conservative girl, raised by strict parents who discouraged dating. She admitted to having a few crushes, but always dismissed them as one-sided, never reciprocated. At the time, I found her honesty refreshing. Honestly, even if she had been in a relationship before, even if she wasn't a virgin when we met, I wouldn't have cared. Those things never mattered to me. What did matter were values. Character. A sense of responsibility in marriage. But I had been blind. I had overestimated her. I kept scrolling through their messages, and then I saw it, the moment they rekindled their affair. 6 months ago. It was our college reunion. The same weekend Anna had told me she was away on a business trip. That night, I had been drowning in negotiations for a major project, drinking endlessly with potential investors. I drank until my stomach bled. But even in my drunken haze, I still found time to check in on her. Did you make it to the hotel? Did you eat something? 2 hours passed. No response. I called. She didn't pick up. Worried for her safety, I nearly ripped off my drip, booked the next flight out, and went to find her myself. Then, at last, she messaged back. Sorry, I was at the night market looking for food. It was too noisy, and I didn't hear my phone vibrate. I had my suspicions. But she followed up with a string of playful texts, teasing me, acting cute. Oops, my bad. I'll be more careful next time. Didn't mean to make you worry. Don't worry, I'll bring you a present when I get back. Now, reading through their chat logs, I finally knew what had really been going on. Tell me, how did it feel? Very comfortable and happy. How about you? It's exciting. Yes, especially when people are walking by. But honestly, I still prefer hotel rooms. I love kneeling on the floor, looking up at you, gazing at you like you're my god, the ruler of my world. Anna, it's been a while. You've gotten even better. A searing pain tore through my chest. I slammed my fist against the desk, the sharp sting radiating through my knuckles, anything to dull the ache in my heart. A year of marriage. A year of cherishing this woman, protecting her, treating her like the most precious thing in my life. Yet to another man, she willingly played the role of a devoted, submissive servant, eager to please, desperate for his affection. I was a man. It wasn't that I lacked desire, nor was I blind to the complexities of human nature. But every time I saw her shy, hesitant expression, I held back. She told me she found it disgusting. So, I never forced her. Yet now, reading these messages, I saw the truth. And it only got worse. Every word, every message, came from Anna. Henry, who's better, me or your girlfriend? You're both great. Henry, when are you going to marry me? I'm so sick of waiting. George is useless, his company's going nowhere, the debt collectors are closing in, and I'm exhausted. I don't want to keep pretending anymore. Why don't we just get rid of him? We'll say he couldn't handle the pressure. I'll even write the suicide note myself. Don't worry, I'm just joking. Even if I did kill him, I'd never let you dirty your hands. I opened the window. The autumn air rushed in, sharp and cold, cutting straight to the bone. A wave of calm washed over me. Anna. You toyed with me. Lied to me. Trampled all over my trust. And you love Henry so much? Well then, wouldn't it be a shame if I didn't help the two of you, truly be together? Just then, my office phone rang. It's Anna. What's wrong? George, where are you? In a meeting. I kept my voice as steady as possible. You haven't been home in 3 days. I'm worried about you. You're overworking yourself. When are you coming back? Do you want me to bring you something to eat? Anna's voice was soft, sweet, like honey melting over warm tea. But now, it only felt like poison. She didn't miss me. That much was obvious. She was just trying to confirm whether I had been home or not. Otherwise, why call my office landline instead of my cell? She was testing me. But her phone was with me. No need. All right, I won't bother you then. Love you, George. I hung up. If I hadn't found out the truth, I probably would have been touched by her concern, lulled by her tenderness. But now? Now, I still had time to turn this around. I glanced at Anna's phone and dialed my office landline from it. A different number appeared on the screen. I examined the phone in my hand, studying its details, then, suddenly, I laughed. So that was it. She had 2 identical phones. Same model. Same password. She thought she was clever. I called the investor, asking if we could delay the investment by a month, just enough time to get through the mandatory divorce cooling-off period. Not a single cent of my company's profits would go to Anna. In fact, I planned to make her cough up every dollar she had hidden away. Next, I called my lawyer and briefly explained the situation. He confirmed that the footage I had recorded inside my own home was admissible as evidence of infidelity. He also pointed out that I had done well not to alert Anna or Henry yet. This gave me the advantage to quietly gather more proof. He advised me to take video recordings of their chat logs instead of just screenshots, as photos could be more easily challenged in court. I followed his advice, recording everything. Then, I dialed my friend Marcus. His uncle was the director of a hospital. For that, I had Anna to thank. She had gone so far as to add Henry's girlfriend on social media. Pretending to be a friendly stranger, she constantly engaged with her posts, monitoring her every move. She even played the role of a fangirl. Your boyfriend is so handsome. I'm so jealous of you too. Actually, my boyfriend is just as handsome. I love him so much. We should all meet up sometime. Anna. How many different faces did she have? I didn't care to find out anymore. I scrolled through the female doctor's social media. She had posted a lot of promotional content for her hospital, which made tracking down her workplace effortless. I had said it before, I wasn't going to dirty my own hands dealing with them. If I wanted to destroy Henry, I needed to understand his girlfriend first. Knowing her temperament would help me plan my next move. A short while later, Marcus called me back. Marcus didn't disappoint. Her name is Emily. She's got a strong personality, tough, no nonsense, sees right through deception. She's a damn good doctor, too. Dedicated. Responsible. And get this, her parents are high-ranking executives at the hospital. Perfect. Marcus, of course, couldn't resist mocking me while helping out. Marcus, I need a favor. Yeah, I know. I hung up and sent Anna a link to a luxury handbag. While waiting for Marcus's call earlier, I had embedded a small program into that link, one that would grant me remote access to her phone's camera as soon as she clicked it. A simple trick, really. I had studied computer science in college. This was child's play. Then, I messaged Anna on social media, playing the role of the apologetic husband. Just finished my meeting. Things are hectic, and I won't be able to come home for a while. As an apology, pick out any bag you like. No matter how tough things get, I won't let my wife suffer. You've been working so hard. You deserve something nice. I sent the message at 3 a.m. I wasn't sure if she was still awake. But I was sure that if she saw it, she would click on the link. A woman as vain and materialistic as Anna wouldn't pass up an opportunity to squeeze the last bit of value out of me. Seconds passed. Then, she clicked. And just like that, I had access. The first thing I saw. Henry was still there. Unbelievable. Just hours ago, she had called my office phone, clearly suspecting something was off. She had probably realized her personal phone was missing, too. There were multiple missed calls from her own number. And yet, despite all that, she still hadn't kicked Henry out. Maybe she thought she had me wrapped around her little finger. Maybe she believed her charm could smooth over any cracks. Arrogant. Delusional. Which made this the perfect moment. I picked up my phone and dialed the police. I want to report an incident, there is illegal activity here. I gave the police the exact address, but the call wasn't made from my personal number. I had used a virtual phone app. The police will not stand idly by and watch this happen. And since it was a local issue, the nearest precinct would be the one to respond. I didn't personally know anyone in that precinct, but my old college dorm mate, Luca, worked in law enforcement. His position had risen over the years, and we kept in touch, occasionally meeting up for drinks. I called him. Of course, I wouldn't ask him to do anything unethical. Instead, I played it smart. Luca, I need a favor. My wife got into an argument with our downstairs neighbor, and I'm out of town on a business trip. I can't reach her, and I'm getting worried. Can you help me check where she is? I'll send my assistant over to handle it. The real reason for my call was simple, insurance. If, for some reason, Anna was taken to a different precinct, I didn't want to lose track of her. Plus, in situations like these, the police always notify family members. But Anna? She wouldn't dare call me. An hour later, Luca messaged me back. Found her. Nothing serious, don't worry. Honestly, do you want me to just go pick her up for you? There was hesitation in his voice, he wasn't saying everything. He had probably figured out the truth. Luca, thanks. Sorry for the trouble. I owe you a nice dinner after this. Come on, man, don't say that. If it weren't for you lending me that money back in freshman year, my dad might not have made it. Luca's family had struggled. His college tuition had been covered by sponsorships, but his father had suffered a sudden heart attack. Back then, I had been making decent money writing code, so I gave him everything I had. That's the thing about adulthood, connections are currency. You acknowledge what's unsaid without needing to say it. With everything in motion, I went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. Then, using Anna's anonymous account, I sent Emily something she'd never be able to ignore, videos of Henry and Anna. All thanks to their twisted little kinks. Anna had stored their private recordings in a hidden folder. But she hadn't hidden them well enough. No woman would be able to stay indifferent after seeing something like this. And from what I'd heard, doctors never turn off their phones or put them on silent, not even when they sleep. Someone as dedicated as Emily? She'd see the message. And when she did, the real fun would begin. I dialed a video call to Emily. Just as she picked up, I hung up. Immediately, messages started flooding in. Who are you? Who the hell are you? What's your relationship with Henry? Do you even know he has a girlfriend? They're about to get married. I replied with only one message. Who I am doesn't matter. Come to the police station. Now. Then, I shut off Emily's phone. At 4 a.m., I was driving through the near-empty streets. The city was still cloaked in darkness, the roads quiet, only a few cars scattered across the lanes. After all the meticulous planning, the Real show was finally about to begin. From the back seat, my mother-in-law grumbled in annoyance. "George, dragging us out in the middle of the night without explaining anything, where exactly are we going? You know your father-in-law has a heart condition." She was clearly irritated, still groggy from being woken up so suddenly. My father-in-law, on the other hand, remained calm. "George, Anna isn't answering her phone. Did something happen?" Of course, she wasn't answering. She was probably in the middle of giving her statement at the station. I kept my eyes on the road. "You'll see when we get there." At the police station, everything unfolded exactly as I had expected. Anna, of course, refused to admit anything. But the police weren't so easily convinced. There had been a report, they had to process it properly. They asked her and Henry to explain their relationship. Anna stubbornly denied everything, insisting that Henry was her husband. So the officers asked for a marriage certificate. Naturally, she couldn't provide one. With no way out, she changed her story, claiming Henry was just a close friend. A close friend? Who sleeps naked in the same bed with their friend? No one believes her. Finally, she broke down and admitted he was someone she liked, pleading with the officers not to tell me. She begged them, saying it would ruin our family if I found out. When the officer recounted this to me, he sighed, giving me a heavy pat on the shoulder. His eyes held a trace of sympathy. They'd probably seen this sort of thing 100 times. I leaned against the wall, feeling momentarily drained. Then, slowly, I crouched down, burying my face in my hands, my shoulders shaking. My mother-in-law rushed to console me. "George, this must be a misunderstanding. Anna would never do something like this. You have to believe her." "Shut up," my father-in-law snapped. "This is all your fault, you spoiled her rotten. Look at what she's become. We've been teachers our whole lives, and we raised this disgrace?" He let out a long, heavy sigh. "George." But in the end, he had nothing else to say. And my shoulders trembled even more. Because I was laughing. Right now, I was the victim, wasn't I? I had to look the part. Then, I heard Anna's voice. "George. Dad? Mom? Why are you all here?" Slowly, I lifted my head. "Anna." My voice cracked. My bloodshot eyes met hers in the reflection of the police station's glass. No sleep. No rest. And yet, I wasn't tired at all. Every nerve in my body was thrumming with anticipation. "Anna, what did I do wrong for you to treat me like this?" My voice trembled. Anna rushed to grab my arm, but I wrenched it away. "George, let me explain, She didn't even get the chance to finish. A loud slap echoed through the station. "You bitch. You seduced my boyfriend, pretended to be my patient just to get close to me, showed off in my face. Was this all a joke to you? You have no shame." A young woman stormed in, her crisp ponytail swinging behind her. Her eyes were burning with fury. "It's Emily." Finally. The moment I had been waiting for had arrived. The real show was just getting started. Anna clutched her face, tears welling in her eyes as she cowered behind me. "George, I didn't do it. They're framing me." "Framing you?" Emily's fury ignited like gasoline to a flame. She grabbed Anna by the arm, yanking her forward. I casually stepped aside, giving Emily all the space she needed. "Look at these videos, wasn't this you?" Anna's tears spilled over as she shook her head frantically. "This has to be fake. It's all edited. Lying with your eyes wide open. You think I'll let you off easy?" With that, Emily slapped Anna across the face, once, twice, 3 times, each strike landing sharper than the last. "What the hell are you doing? Let go of my daughter." My mother-in-law lunged forward, trying to pull Emily away. "Your daughter is a cheater, and she still thinks she's the victim." Emily shot back before delivering a swift kick, sending my mother-in-law crashing to the floor. Shock flashed across her face. "How could you just stand there and do nothing?" she shrieked at my father-in-law. But he merely scoffed. "I have no daughter who disgraces me like this." Anna's lip trembled, whether from anger or humiliation, I couldn't tell. "Dad, how can you turn your back on me?" Huge tears rolled down her cheeks as she reached for him. "Get away from me." My father-in-law shoved her aside with disgust. Desperation flickered in Anna's eyes as she turned to me instead, gaze glistening with tears. She took a tentative step forward, her voice soft, fragile, every bit the pitiful victim. George. I was forced. Don't listen to them. He came to borrow money. I thought of our college friendship and let him in. But the moment he stepped inside, he forced himself on me. Anna's voice broke as she reached out, her fingers trembling. George, you believe me, don't you? I let out a low chuckle. And I said nothing. Before Anna could finish her act, Henry, who had just finished giving his statement, stormed over and slapped her to the ground. You filthy whore. If you hadn't seduced me, would I have fallen in love with you? He turned to the police officers. The cops are right here. Our chat logs are all on my phone. Go ahead, Anna, let's clear this up once and for all. He grabbed her by the arm, dragging her toward the interrogation room. Anna thrashed against him, struggling desperately, but she was no match for a grown man. In the end, she collapsed onto the floor, clinging to the ground like a drowning woman clutching at air. She looked pathetic. A far cry from the elegant, composed woman she always pretended to be. Today, she had lost everything, her dignity, her image, her mask. Henry, seeing her refuse to move, scoffed and released her, turning instead to Emily. His entire demeanor changed in an instant. He scrambled in front of her, pleading, his voice dripping with desperation. Emily, I was wrong. It was a moment of weakness, just a mistake, one that any man could make. But you're the one I truly love. I swear, this was the first and only time. Emily raised an eyebrow, her tone suddenly calm. You love me? I swear on my life. Henry nodded frantically, bowing his head over and over like a puppet on a string. Emily smiled coldly, then suddenly slapped Anna across the face. You love that I'm a doctor? That I make you look good in front of others? You love that I make good money, so you can spend without a care? You love that my parents are hospital executives, so you can skip 20 years of hard work? With every word, another slap landed. Henry staggered, his face turning red from the blows. Because I didn't just send those videos to Emily. Also posted some records of Henry complaining about Emily. Henry turned on Anna in a rage, his eyes burning with fury. He grabbed her by the collar and smacked her twice, his voice full of venom. Was it you? You set me up? You ruined my relationship with Emily? I told you, you were nothing but a toy. Emily is my real love. Why the hell would you ruin that? Anna finally snapped. She lunged at Henry, clawing at his face, screaming at the top of her lungs. You bastard. When you were in my bed, did you ever say that? When I spent my money on you, bought you that Cartier watch, that BMW, why didn't you say that then? She was a wild animal now, flailing, shrieking, her perfectly crafted persona shattered into dust. I watched the chaos unfold, feeling strangely exhausted. This circus had gone on long enough. With a sigh, I finally spoke. Henry, I said, my voice steady, emotionless. Every cent Anna spent on you during our marriage, all the gifts, the money, I strongly advise you to return it. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to take legal action. Not just what you owe others, every cent I spent on you, you'll return that too. Emily's voice was ice-cold as she shot Henry a final glare. You have 3 days. Otherwise, see you in court. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Henry rushed after her. Emily, wait. Get lost, scumbag. Stay the hell away from me. Their voices faded as they disappeared down the hallway. Only then did Anna slowly pick herself up from the floor. Tears streamed down her face as she turned to me, her voice trembling. George. I was tricked. I swear, it was just this once. Please, forgive me. Once upon a time, the sight of her crying would have wrecked me. I would have done anything to comfort her, to take the blame on myself. But now? Now, all I saw were crocodile tears. Anna, I said, my voice flat. 8 o'clock. I'll see you in court. With a thud, she dropped to her knees. George, I really know I was wrong. Just give me one more chance, okay? She clung to my leg, desperation dripping from every word. Your company's been struggling lately. I was under so much stress. Henry was the one who seduced me, I couldn't control myself, and I made a mistake. But who in life doesn't make mistakes? If I'm willing to change, isn't that enough? I don't even remember what happened. I drank too much, and when I woke up, I was in bed with Henry. I swear, we just slept, nothing happened. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen anyone so shameless. Besides, she continued, sniffling pitifully, when you had nothing, wasn't I the one who stayed by your side? When you had to live in that tiny rental, did I ever complain? I stood by you, and for just one little mistake, you're throwing everything away. I struck her across the face. She clutched her cheek, staring at me in shock. You hit me? You're a man, and you hit a woman. Where's your dignity? My mother-in-law shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at me. How dare you lay a hand on my daughter? I raised her all these years, and I've never even touched her. How could you? But my father-in-law? His face was dark, his patience finally snapping. With a sharp shove, he pushed my mother-in-law aside. Shut up, he barked. Then, his gaze landed on Anna, disgusted, furious. Get home. Right now. Reflect on what you've done. You've disgraced us all. George, I'm sorry. This is our fault. We didn't raise our daughter properly, and you've suffered because of it. We'll take her home and teach her a lesson. You should take some time to cool down as well. Marriage isn't easy, George. No one has a perfect, trouble-free relationship. Every couple faces challenges, big or small. Divorce isn't something to take lightly. I hope you'll think this through carefully. No matter what happens between you and Anna, you'll always be welcome in our home. Out of everyone in that family, my father-in-law was the smartest. At our wedding, he refused my money and said he just wanted me to treat Anna well. And because he asked for nothing, I had insisted on giving generously. Whenever I visited their home, he always made a point to cook for me himself. We'd share a couple of drinks, and he'd lower his stance, speaking to me as an equal. Anna is willful, he'd say. You have to be patient with her. And if she ever steps out of line, tell us. We'll set her straight. He gave me respect. And because of that, I cherished Anna even more. Yet despite having such a good father, Anna had chosen to become this. I met his gaze and asked plainly, if you were me, what would you do? At home, I had no problem massaging Anna's shoulders, bringing her foot baths, none of that ever bothered me. But this? This humiliation? I won't accept it. I can't accept it. This marriage is over. There's nothing left to discuss. Anna snapped, turning into a rabid dog in an instant. Dad, why are you taking his side? Fine. Divorce then. Who's afraid of who? She whirled toward me, eyes burning with resentment. George, don't forget, if you're the one who initiates the divorce, the house and the cars all go to me. You'll walk away with nothing. Before I could react, a crisp sound was heard. Her father had struck her across the face. You idiot, he bellowed. George is a good man, and you threw him away like garbage. Do you think you'll ever find another man like him? His hand trembled from the force of the slap. My mother-in-law immediately shoved him aside. What the hell are you doing? She screeched. Why is everyone attacking Anna? What did she do that was so unforgivable? If anything happens to my daughter, I'll make all of you pay for it. At those last words, she shot a pointed glare at me. A threat? Really? Like I gave a damn. Her husband scoffed, clutching his chest as he stormed off. Go ahead and keep spoiling her. This is exactly why she turned out this way. Anna turned back to me, her face twisted with rage. George, are you happy now? You got what you wanted, right? Look at my parents, they're turning against me, and it's all because of you. You enjoy this, don't you? She stared at me like I was her worst enemy. All I did was cheat, and you're acting like it's the end of the world. So what? If you want a divorce, fine. But don't forget, you promised that if we divorced, everything would belong to me. I let out a slow, deliberate laugh. Then I met her gaze and spoke, my voice calm, measured. Anna, you seem to forget, I said, tilting my head, that promise was based on mutual trust and faithfulness in our marriage. If our love had simply faded, would have willingly given you everything. I leaned in slightly, my voice dropping lower. But you were the one who betrayed our marriage. You destroyed our home. Why the hell would I give you a dime? Are you stupid? Anna's face contorted with fury. So what? Henry and I have nothing going on. I never cheated, she snapped, lifting her chin defiantly. I had expected this. I raised an eyebrow, looking at her like she was an idiot. So, did you forget why you're here at the police station in the first place? I tilted my head slightly. The statement you just gave? It's all on record, black and white, with your signature at the bottom. She could try to deny it all she wanted. It wouldn't change a damn thing. Anna's face turned ghostly pale. Her eyes darted frantically, searching for a way out. She wasn't completely stupid, she was finally piecing things together. You set me up, she hissed. It was you who called the cops? She glared at me, fury burning in her eyes. Then, as if latching onto one last desperate defense, she scoffed. Whatever. The house and the cars are mine. They're all under my name. You can keep your failing company, I don't need it. Go struggle on your own. I chuckled lightly. Anna, do you even know what you're talking about? I met her gaze, calm and unbothered. You really should have educated yourself on the law before running your mouth. Sure, your name is on the house and the cars. But they were all purchased before our marriage. That makes them my personal assets. You don't get a single cent. I let my words sink in before delivering the final blow. And not just that, your $10 million in secret savings? You'll be handing that over, too. Anna's legs buckled, and she collapsed to the floor, her lips trembling. You knew? You knew all along, she whispered, stunned. Her eyes widened with realization, then narrowed in fury. This whole thing, this was all an act? You planned this from the start, just to humiliate me? She clenched her fists, her voice rising into a shriek. George, you're vile. You're disgusting. You played me like a fool. I can't believe I was ever blind enough to choose you. I crouched down, meeting her shattered, furious gaze. Then, slowly and deliberately, I spoke. No, Anna. You got it all wrong. The only blind one here was me. If it weren't for you, my life would have been so much better. I stood up, dusting off my sleeves. And don't even think about trying to move your money. My lawyers will be watching your every move. I turned to leave, my voice calm, unwavering. 8 o'clock. Courthouse entrance. Don't be late. The divorce proceedings at court went relatively smoothly. But, as expected, Anna refused to hand over the $10 million. That was fine. When dealing with shameless people, there was no need to hold back. A week later, Anna received a court summons. To be precise, she was being sued by one of my company's creditors. Our company supposedly owed them $25 million. Now, while that debt belonged to the company, the money the company made during our marriage was spent on both of us. Not surprisingly, most of it was spent by Anna. I had all the credit card statements to prove it. As my legal spouse, she was responsible for half of that debt, $12.5 million. She had two choices. Pay up. Or let the courts enforce payment through asset liquidation. No one can escape the law. And no one, especially not Anna, would risk prison time over money. Still, I decided to motivate her a little. I casually tossed her phone onto the table, my voice slow and deliberate. You can refuse to pay. But if you do, I'll make sure every single one of your coworkers sees those videos of you and Henry. You don't want to lose your job too, do you? Anna clenched her jaw. Her hands balled into fists. George, you're ruthless. I admit it, I lost to you. I simply smirked. She brought this upon herself. Compared to what you tried to do to me, I'd say I went easy on you. Anna, don't push your luck. Or I will make sure you end up in jail. That finally shut her up. On the day our divorce was finalized, Anna was at the villa packing her things. I stood by the doorway, watching. Leave the bags. She paused. The clothes are yours. But the designer bags? They stay. I glanced at the wall of luxury handbags, each worth a fortune. All bought with my hard-earned money. Why the hell should I? I already gave you the $10 million, what more do you want? I hit her across the face. Because you don't deserve them. You think you can just cheat on me, take my money, and walk away like nothing happened? You carried another man's child while I fed you, clothed you, and cared for you. If anything, I should be suing you for emotional damages. I narrowed my eyes. Take your clothes and get out. Or else. George. You'll regret this. Anna grabbed her suitcase, trying to hold on to whatever dignity she had left. But just as she reached the doorway, she spun around. Standing under the bright sunlight, she took a deep breath, then screamed at the top of her lungs. George, I never loved you. Not once. Every single second I spent with you was disgusting. The only man I ever wanted was Henry. And guess what? Henry is going places. He has big clients, a bright future. Oh, and your company? It's about to collapse. I can't wait to see you rot in misery, alone for the rest of your pathetic life. I watched her, unfazed. Her words meant nothing to me now. But she did give me an interesting piece of information. Henry had a bright future. His probationary period at his job wasn't even over yet. And those big clients she was bragging about? And the several big orders that I secretly introduced to Anna's company on our wedding anniversary were also taken credit by Henry? Interesting. Time to take back everything they owed me. A year later, my company went public. Somehow, Henry and Anna's videos found their way onto the internet. Henry, who once had a promising career, lost everything. As for Anna, those big clients she had been so proud of, they were never hers to begin with. She had only gotten into that company thanks to my connections. I never openly discussed the reason for our divorce, but word got around. Management started making things difficult for her, isolating her, pushing her out. And then, I heard the final blow. Desperate to keep her job, Anna resorted to her old tricks. Late-night rendezvous in the office. With her boss. Until his wife caught them in the act. Anna got beaten so badly she landed in the hospital. The last time I saw her was on the street. I was in my brand new Rolls-Royce, waiting at a red light. She saw me. And for a long moment, she just stood there, staring. George? Her voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper. Can you spare some money? I haven't eaten in days. I casually reached into the passenger seat, pulled out a bag of crackers, and tossed it to her. She tore it open, devouring it like a starving animal. Thank you, she mumbled through a mouthful of food. I smiled. Don't mention it. I bought those for Cola, it's his favorite snack. Anna froze. Cola? Yeah, I said lightly. My pet dog. She stiffened. Back when we were together, she hated animals. She couldn't stand fur, wouldn't let me have a pet. So, I never did. She hesitated, her face paling as she realized what she had just eaten. For a second, she looked like she wanted to throw up. But she forced it down. Only to choke on it, coughing violently. I didn't bother watching. I rolled up my window and drove away. My life was only getting better. As I cruised down the road, I turned on the stereo. A smooth, soothing melody filled the car. And then, a notification popped up on my screen. A friend request. George, this is Emily. You were the one who sent me the evidence last year, weren't you? If you're free, can I buy you dinner? For a moment, that bold, striking girl flashed through my mind. I clicked accept. Then, I smiled. Is a woman more important than success? I guess I was about to find out.